I saw this video on my feed that I really wanted to check out. This is apparently the most controversial Vocaloid, and the thumbnail was Teto. So already there's a bit of a discrepancy with the definitions, but it's neither here nor there. Let's check out the video.
So Vocaloids, they seem to have got a lot more attention this past decade, with the main source of said attention mainly coming from the most popular Vocaloid. Yes, believe it or not, there are
We have subtitles. No? Okay.
other Vocaloids, like a lot, and there used to be more, but some of them have actually become lost media due to the fact they aren't supported anymore, so they've kind of been left to die or experience something similar to the singular Hexbug fan that still exists, where they are basically the only one keeping the memory of said product alive even after it's been forgotten and even renamed. But as I was saying, people mostly associate the name Vocaloid with a singular blue-haired, leek-wielding cultural icon recently divorced.
Was that a girl singing Fiend? Was that Hatsune singing
A
Fiend?
blue-haired, leek-wielding cultural icon
There's no way she actually did that.
recently divorced clanker Hatsune Miku, or as she's most commonly known, the Fortnite character that rode on the back of Godzilla to fight a giant squid man with the support of the Avengers, Squid Game characters,
Fire.
Invincible cast,
Love it.
and the Mutant Ninja Turtles. Honestly, at this point, I would not blame you if you're starting to suspect you're having a schizophrenic episode, experiencing a delusion where there is a timeline where this does actually exist, but here we are. But Hatsune Miku is definitely the most recognizable Vocaloid, with almost 3.5 million listeners a month. She even has her own concerts, which I must say are a lot more impressive than that one VTuber concert I saw.
The frickin'... No, wasn't that free? That's why they did it like that?
She's had a successful legacy in media and the internet in general since her conception in 2007, and some of you that have probably started developing crow's feet may even remember when every Nightcore song back in the day would always have a picture of Miku present for some reason. And I'll say it again, if
I wouldn't know. I literally got into Vocaloid last year.
you remember this image and the song that goes along with it, you are in fact considered old now. And it's time to get that 30-year mortgage with outrageous interest rates that you'll never pay off, buddy. And you might not know this, but especially if you are old, you may have already listened to Miku and her voice before without knowing. Because
Thank you for the tier 1.
if you've ever seen the very old meme Nyanka, Miku was behind the original version of the song used. But as said,
Oh, I've never heard that version. I've only heard the Nyan Cat version.
Vocaloids have been a thing for a while now, and mainly got popular due to the introduction of Hatsune.
I've seen people claim VTuber concerts are better, but there's no way anyone actually believes it's better. I mean, if the singers are like Toa, Suisei, and Todoroki Hajime, then it just might be.
Miku and the music that followed. However, with all that said, what is a Vocaloid? Well, to keep it brief, Vocaloids are the product of the Vocaloid software created by Yamaha Corporation, who also make things like motorbikes and ATVs, but the software allows someone to make music by typing the lyrics of a song and using voice banks, which are samples of human vocals, that can be manipulated in a way to provide a voice to said lyrics. That's why most of the time Vocaloids and their music sound sort of robotic. In fact, the voice of Hatsune Miku was sampled from Saki Fujita. And
Oh my goodness.
by owning and making the software,
He's gorgeous.
Yamaha does not own the rights to Fujita. And despite owning and making the software, Yamaha does not own the rights to Miku. She's actually owned by Krypton Future Media. And what
I don't know who's more attractive, her or Hatsune Miku.
makes a Vocaloid an official Vocaloid is that one, it must be created in the Vocaloid official software, although even though the company that owns Miku are no longer using it and have gone on to make their own software, Miku is still considered a Vocaloid
Okay, when do we get to Teto?
primarily due to the license provided by Yamaha Corporation, which is another thing required so you can actually label your product as a Vocaloid. And is a lot of work and money, which is why only professional companies like Krypton Future Media own a majority of the Vocaloids we see today, with only a select few other companies having their own Vocaloids like Shanghai Henan IT. And you also have to worry about things like designing and potentially creating your own professional voice banks, which a normal person may not have the resources for. But even if you went through that entire process and didn't get the license, your product still wouldn't be.
But okay, Can we skip ahead to Teto?
be considered a Vocaloid, but a Utauloid, which if you say a few times in succession, it sounds like a slur for Vocaloids. So Utauloids are basically the poor person's version of a Vocaloid. If you don't want to fork out an extortionate amount of money for a license to the official software,
that's basically how much I earn a month. No, it's not. I'm just kidding.
Spin the wheel and risk getting a totally free and legitimate version that only comes with a trade-off of your webcam light permanently being on, and command prompt flashing you every time you start Windows, and let's not forget once again the copious amounts of funding and effort you'd need to put in just to get the Yamaha license to call it a Vocaloid. But Utauloid or Utau is like a non-official or non-canonical Vocaloid, mainly produced by the community and is usually created within the free software Utau Studio, using free or creating their own voice banks that can be put into the software directly, hence the name Utauloid, which also has been used as—
Listen, if you're good enough, you can make anything sound good. You can make Utauloid sound good. You can make even Flower Kaito sound good, God forbid. I'm just kidding.
a label for any non-official Vocaloid like Fananoids, even if they don't use the Utau software, but for simplicity's sake, all of them usually all come under the umbrella of Vocaloid, official or not. Now obviously there are a lot more Utauloids than there are Vocaloids, primarily due to the fact the bar to label your product a Utauloid is a lot lower than the requirements for a Vocaloid, and once again Utauloids are community made and usually all you need to create a Utauloid is a visual design, software and a voice bank. But Utauloids have existed around about just as long as Vocaloids, and some are even on the same level or just as popular as their official counterparts, with key examples being Defoco made in 2008, Momo Momon also made in 2008, Renri Yamin released initially in 2014, there's also Neru released in 2007, but they are considered a derivative, not an official Vocaloid or Utauloid, because she doesn't have her own voice bank and she was heavily based off Miku, with her nickname actually being
She's heavily based on her. I mean, I could see it.
Miku. And probably the
As
most
the non-cat
popular
one? Oh,
and
wow.
who this video is about is Kasane Teto, or just Teto as she's usually known, who in the community is mostly respected and regarded as an official Vocaloid despite officially not being one. And
I mean, she's better sounding than a lot of actual Vocaloids, so...
currently she has a fanbase that almost rivals Hatsune Miku herself, and even more recently Teto has become increasingly popular due to her involvement in multiple memes and shitposts.
Oh my gosh. There's so many freaking memes. Whenever I post anything Teto related on Instagram or TikTok, I just get flooded with Teto, like memes, like Teto on a cat, Teto with like as LeBron, like it's crazy.
Man, I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
Especially
That's perfect timing. Thank you for the 600.
Man, I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear!
especially those that could be seen as controversial to say the least that I've been seeing on my
I've
Instagram
actually seen that
reels.
meme on my
Do you think
chat.
it was very fucking cool? Yes, I do. One of the— And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Which altogether
Why does she sound Scottish right there?
has led to Teto having a huge effect on the Vocaloid community, even if she is still a Utauloid. But where did Teto come from, and how did she have such an impact on the Vocaloid community and the internet as a whole, to the point where she actually has a demonic-like cult surrounding her?
Say the word of the day! Tom! Why do you still not have a top? Go outside and get a top!
So the story
Don't trigger me.
of how Teto came to be is kind of a funny one, as she
I
was
got
originally
triggered.
created in 2008 by the users of a Japanese forum page called 2channel. Around this time, Miku had just been introduced to the world and was making waves on the internet, so the residents of the forum page 2channel in April decided to make their own April Fool's joke, which was to make their own version of a fake Vocaloid, which led to the birth of the red-haired gremlin Teto. They went as far as to provide an entire concept of the fake Vocaloid for the prank, with an artist by the name of Sen providing the artwork for Teto, which bore a heavy resemblance to
All this effort, all this all this work, blood, sweat, and tears for a joke.
Miku in a way, from her outfit to numbers present
What, at one point does it surpass just being a joke and actually being a legit thing?
on her arm, but with key differences like the hairstyle and the colour. Soon users of the forum page would also attach both lore and details to the character,
And you have lore and detail. Okay.
which was also heavily involved in the prank and resulted in Teto officially being 31 years old.
That's why she's my favorite.
Which is the youngest age for your average old school RuneScape player. She was also nor female nor male. She was instead a
even better
chimera. And yes, I did start that sentence by saying she, because most just refer to her as female because of her character design. But also, unlike me,
I immediately assumed it was a female. And if it's not, even better. What?
Instead of being obsessed with leeks, she was obsessed with bread, mostly baguettes. And we were
oh my gosh, she's French!
Fortunate the users of 2channel decided to grant some mercy with their troll.
I was joking.
Didn't make her French.
French!
They also provided her personality, which was apparently a tsundere, and that she dislikes people that think her pigtails are drills. And to tie the ribbon on their April Fool's joke, they made a whole website dedicated to the bit that...
Okay, what point is this okay.
appeared like an official page announcing the debut of this new Vocaloid Teto. The online prank did succeed. A lot of people...
Wow, you got me. What a great prank.
Thought there was...
You made a freaking legendary voice prank.
Actually going to be another Vocaloid, and some even became highly interested in this character even after they found out it was a joke. But after April Fool's, Teto was basically abandoned.
Oh, I just realized that they had never... Oh, wait. So was this all made beforehand? This was all made beforehand? And the voice actually didn't even exist? Oh, that's hilarious.
As the majority of
okay, I see the prank. Okay, my bad, guys. I'm slow. I just woke up.
Users moved on as they had already done what they set out to accomplish and the joke was over. Even though they put so much effort into it and the product of said joke was a very believable and somewhat competent design. However, Teto wouldn't just be thrown in the trash and have her story end there. Because as said, some were interested in the character and refused to let Teto just be tossed aside as a one-time joke. 13 days after April Fool's, Teto would get her first voice bank made by a fan for the Utau software,
very nice.
And the voice behind it was Mayo Oyamano, who frequented the 2channel forum, and at the time was only 15 years old when she decided to volunteer as the voice of Teto. And with the voice bank created and provided to the community, Teto had now evolved from a joke to an official Utauloid, and soon after the first song would be made with her voice bank called Fake Diva, which used both Teto's and Miku's voice bank to make the song. And this song saw a decent amount of attention, with each re-upload at least
I need to hear like what the version sounded.
Getting over 100,000 views. And within 6 months of her release, there were hundreds of uploaded videos made about her on the site Nico Nico, which is a Japanese video sharing website like YouTube, and people began using her voice bank to create their own music or create covers of existing songs with it. In fact, Teto received so much attention that eventually a fan-founded management group called Twin Drill was made specifically to manage the intellectual property that is Teto. And within said group, it included the 2channel users that provided the voice and art for her April release. She would then in 2009 receive an...
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This started out as a joke, and then everyone's like, "No, I want to keep the joke going," and then he just made it an official voice.
Update to her voice bank, upgrading the quality of her...
Where's the controversy in this?
Voice, where it previously sounded like this, and it was now upgraded to this. This was definitely a bit better than the original, but this upgrade may have indirectly helped spread Teto throughout the Western world, as Teto was only really being noticed in Japan up to this point, and she hadn't really been introduced to any other country. But with a now updated voice bank that sounded better, a lot more people began to use her, leading to the creation of one of her more viral songs, Teto Territory. The song was basically about who Teto was, her likes, dislikes, and her ultimate goal to become a Vocaloid, and how she's going to overthrow the monopoly on Vocaloids. Along with the upbeat animation,
I'm just hearing this is just great.
Particularly Teto dancing,
it's a Toho song?
Garnered a lot of attention, mostly outside of Japan. It even became somewhat of a meme back then, with people making their own version of her dance. Now at this point, more people knew about Teto, but it didn't stop there. as another fan would make the song Fukureta in 2010, which also got a lot of attention, and for some reason also became nostalgia bait for most people alive in the 2010s, and like its predecessor, it also found its way into internet culture at the time. Gradually over the years, Teto would continue to grow influence, and with the release of even more fan-made music and her previous success on the internet, it was almost impossible to ignore the influence Teto was gathering. She wasn't on the same level as Miku at that time, but she was present, and this led to her in
I still don't think she is. I still think Hatsune Miku just overall is just bigger than her.
2014
in general,
being finally officially noticed.
I would say Teto's like top 5 probably.
By Krypton Future Media, and they would involve her in an official Vocaloid project. It was just that in said project, she was kind of there in the background.
Well, that just makes sense.
It was just that in said project, she was kind of there in the background.
Hey, that's my shoulder.
She was added as a DLC in the game Hatsune Miku Project Diva, but she was just a playable character. She had no voice lines and her voice bank was not used at all. But
yikes.
at least she finally received some form of official recognition. However, past 2014, Teto would struggle a little, as would most Vocaloids. This was known as the Great Stagnation Era, or as it's alternatively known within the community, the Dry Period. This is where Vocaloids in general no longer saw the same growth they were experiencing in previous years. It was kind of the same thing Minecraft faced from 2014 to 2017, but this...
Really? I feel like Minecraft never fell off, bro. I feel like Minecraft is always banging.
This was primarily due to factors like a lot of influential Vocaloid content creators in the space going on to other adventures outside the Vocaloid community.
I guess so. Like, I mean, comparatively speaking, but I think even even when Minecraft fell off, it was still more popular than 99% of other games.
Not only that, but they apparently saw an oversaturation problem because things looked so promising years prior. It led to the overproduction of new characters and voice banks to the point where there were so many, a lot of them just failed to get any traction.
It got oversaturated.
In general, it looked like Vocaloids had become a dated trend and the hype for them was over, and it would just slowly fade into obscurity. A good indicator...
It's kind of impressive how Vocaloid is still kind of a crazy big thing, even though, like, nowadays,
of this,
like, even with terrible singing, you could still make it sound good with auto-tune processing, pitch correcting, but Vocaloid's still very prevalent.
This was with the release of a Miku song called Sand
It's very
Planet,
impressive.
which some interpreted as a reference to the decline of Vocaloids. Teto around this time was still around. She had a few popular song releases and even apparently a feature in a production, and was once again involved in another DLC pack in 2016, but she saw the same struggle other Vocaloids were seeing at that time. But despite the Vocaloid community going through a difficult time, she was officially featured in the Hatsune Miku Symphony concert in 2018 and 2019, which also celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Teto, and she was one of the only non-Vocaloid characters present. But still, Vocaloids had seemingly hit their peak, and it was only downhill from there. And it started to look like this was just a temporary trend where they would just be discarded and forgotten by the end of it. Well, it may have been like that if the second golden age of Vocaloids didn't come about. As in late 2019 to early 2020, perhaps due to the release of things like multiple Vocaloid-themed games and the rise of short-form content platforms like TikTok, the community...
Oh yeah, that definitely helps a lot. Like, tapping into the mobile game industry, tapping into the short-form content industry, yeah, that definitely helped a lot with the resurgence, I'd imagine.
He began to pick up again and create more Vocaloid content, with specific creators like Pino, Deco, Giga, and Maretu being popular examples. This introduced more people to both Miku and Vocaloids once again, and content started rolling out. But Teto wouldn't share that spotlight till a bit later on, as her voice bank...
Wait, did he say Deco?
Deco, Giga, and...
I used to say Deco, like, back when I just, like, I literally got into Vocaloids. I was just trying to read phonetically the names, so I just said Deco. It's Deco, obviously.
Maretu being popular examples. This introduced more people to both Miku and Vocaloids once again, and content started rolling out. But Teto wouldn't share that spotlight till a bit later on, as her voice bank at this point was very old. It did receive some upgrades here and there, but overall it was quite dated compared to other voice banks and Vocaloids. She wasn't completely discarded, she was used here and there, but she was slowly being forgotten. Until in 2023, where she would receive a professional update to her voice bank
there you go, nice.
as an addition to the synthesizer studio.
So she got very big when her voice itself wasn't even necessarily that good. Wow.
Which also came with an update to her appearance. And thus Teto, once again like in 2008 to 2010, would capture the eyes of the community, as her voice was a lot more human now and higher quality. And some people had an absolute field day with her new voice bank.
Your life is nothing. You
Had an absolute field day with her new voice bank.
Your life is nothing. You serve a zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
But this improvement resulted in her being heavily used with popular songs like Override and more recently Mesmerizer, which was a combination between Teto
I still have Vietnam flashbacks about this music video.
and Miku and reached over 180 million views. And after this, she would join Miku on stage performing the same song for the Hatsune Miku Japan live tour in 2025. Yes, Teto was created as an April Fool's joke towards Vocaloids
Okay, I failed to see the controversy.
in 2008 and
Sorry about that.
was completely community made and then somewhat discarded after the joke was over, but in the current day is now currently somewhat on the same level as the face of Vocaloids, Hatsune Miku. She has rightfully earned the name Diva born from a hoax. They grow up so fast. But that is where Teto is to this day.
Okay.
And as you can probably tell, the name of this video is the most controversial Vocaloid.
Well, that's the Vocaloids for clickbait.
It's probably something like that. I'm not very good with titles, if you couldn't tell. I mostly just pull them from my ass, all the way from the depths of my prostate. But how is Teto the most controversial Vocaloid? Well, there's a bit of contention within the community if Teto should be called a Vocaloid, especially considering her past and her overall conception. Some vehemently defend the point she isn't a Vocaloid as she still isn't considered official, and there has apparently been a bit of gatekeeping in the community against those that were introduced to Vocaloids through Teto, despite her once again not being a Vocaloid, and some treat it like she's encroaching on Miku's territory or something. But on the other side, people refer to her as a Vocaloid for either simplicity or out of some sort of respect, as she was originally this one-off joke, but is now almost on par with the face of Vocaloids Hatsune Miku, getting the Vocaloid treatment and is basically everywhere. She's constantly being acknowledged by the powerhouses of the Vocaloid industry, perhaps to the dismay of people on the opposing side. She was even—
Why are we acting like this is like blood versus Crip? Like with Miku and Teto. Why can't you just enjoy both?
even recently in a McDonald's ad.
By the way, for people in YouTube, Yasu is by himself with the over hating on Flower. I don't hate Flower, okay?
And it was heavily rumored she's going to be eventually added to Fortnite. Yes, I know around a year ago
That'd be
there
great.
was propaganda being sent around that she was getting added to Fortnite then, just for a majority of people to eventually realise they've been baited, but that rumour is once again being circulated, which is either god tier gaslighting and they may have to create a hotline for Teto fans if it isn't true, or she is in fact going to be added just like Miku, which will further solidify her impact within the community. Another reason apart from her just simply being called a Vocaloid is down to the community surrounding her and her recent adoption as the face of shitposting.
birthday!
Wow.
Now there's a few
Okay.
communities you don't fuck with, one of them being the Uma Musume community, because if you say anything even remotely negative about one of their horse girls, they will flail you alive on top of an open fire. Believe me, Peter learned the hard way. And another community is Teto fans, as they are usually described as very deranged or gremlins. From the contraptions they've
Yes. I would say so. Yes.
made to the sheer amount of
But they're like fun. They're like dumb, but they're fun.
meme posts that some think have crowded the Vocaloid community to the point where you
It's like watching a dog chase its own tail. It's like very entertaining to watch.
cannot escape them. I mean, how do you think I found out about Teto? It got to the point where it apparently overflowed out of the Vocaloid circle into my Instagram Reels feed. But it has led to a bit of so-called Teto fatigue because she is all over the Vocaloid community.
Oh my gosh.
And some are starting to feel like she's overused. And let's not forget about the walk.
Meanwhile, they listen to Hatsune Miku. What?
Grams being committed with Teto on Instagram Reels because, you know, it's Instagram Reels.
I don't get that.
They don't understand the things I said on Twitter.
But yeah, Teto is
Oh my gosh.
controversial.
I'm definitely buying Teto.
Basically down to how she came about, to how she gathered enough influence to rival the titans in the industry, and because she became so popular it led to some infighting within the community regarding her title, and if she should be
This is not true, Vocaloid.
the one
Oh my
exception
gosh.
to that standard for said title. And she's also viewed as controversial due to her Gremlin fans flooding the community with endless shitposts, to the point where the average Vocaloid fan will probably see a plethora of derogatory Teto memes on a daily basis.
Teto word of the day. Horse racing.
That's not a word, that's 2 words, but okay.
Now I will say I am basically a tourist, yes, string me up on the cross and call me a degenerate. I will admit I am not that experienced in the ways of the Vocaloid, I'm quite the basic bitch, my favourite song is Echo and World is Mine, but I can see why people
Pretty good
like
choices.
Vocaloid so much and why Teto is such a contested topic within the community and why she is so loved. She isn't a traditional Vocaloid and had questionable origins, but that's probably the best part of Teto. She wasn't made by a corporation, she wasn't extensively planned, she was an April Fool's joke that became one of the top characters in the industry. And from the perspective of a tourist, I'd call her a Vocaloid even if it isn't an official title. But that's basically it. This is another video topic I found through my Instagram Reels feed. I hope a hex bug
Instagram Reels, best short form content on the internet. I said what I said.
crawls under your foreskin, and yeah, that's
What?
all. Instagram Reels feed. I hope a hex bug crawls under your foreskin, and yeah, that's all.
What kind of an outro is that? What kind of an outro is that? But okay, if anything, actually makes me like Teto even more because, you know, she wasn't made by a big end corporation. She was made as an April Fool's joke by fans, and they didn't even have like original intent of making her a big thing, but she became a big thing. And then there was like a lot of hurdles about her possibly flopping and falling off, but she just didn't. I actually find that kind of inspirational. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. Yeah. There's this whole thing recently with people hitting on Miku Teto songs, Vocaloid slap, copying Mesmerizer, which is the okay. See, here's the thing, right? I mean, who like? I don't know if there's actually like that big of infighting between it, or there's just like a kind of a substantial number of people who are unemployed in the Vocaloid community who are way too worried about stuff like this. Like, just listen to the music, bro. Like, I wouldn't call myself a tourist, but I wouldn't call myself a hardcore fan. I'm like somewhere in the middle. So like, is it really that deep? And I guess sonically wise, I actually do like Teto more than Miku, if I'm being real here. And if I like, once I do buy like a vocal synth, I am gonna buy Teto and Miku. I'm gonna buy both of them. So I mean, I get why there's controversy. I personally don't get it. I think it's stupid, and I think her controversy makes her even more likable as like story wise and lore wise. But you know, anyways, cool video. I'll leave a link at the top of the description.